So I mean,
So are you comfortable that the asphalt plant that will be operated there is environmentally sound, is not going to, because I know there have been some changes in technology of different types of asphalt
I
plants.
can't speak to the technical aspects of that, but I would certainly say, given where the site is located, there certainly, as far as I know, there are no immediate houses in the immediate vicinity of it. But in a small island, there's always going to have to be give and take. Anywhere you put an asphalt park in Grenada, it's probably within a mile or 2 miles of a residential community. The quarry that's operating at Mount Atman, the residents in Mount Atman and landscaping complain about the dust and the quality of dust and stuff like that.
Put it in Lansapin. Put the plant in Lansapin or in Calivini. The whole of Grenada is supposed to bear the brunt of our disasters. Not only the people in St. John's or the Northwest St. George's area. And we can sit down and have a conversation. We should have a conversation as Grenadians. We're not beasts. So anybody could just come in our community and just do anything, and we swallow it, and they do whatever they has to do, and they go about their business. No, that's not how society is supposed to operate. It's supposed to operate more humanly.
The issue with the roads, there are a lot of concerns about the state of the road. Asphalt and access in asphalt was a big issue. I understand that you've taken measures to try to deal with that. Can you tell me about the asphalt plant that's been put in Beauseajour?
Right. So the group trading by the name of Rayneau is setting up an asphalt plant. Because of the size of the equipment and so on associated with asphalt plants, we've entered an arrangement with them that will allow them to host it temporarily at the government sites in Beauseajour. Asphalt is the, in a sense, the end product of all of the things that are required to get you to the point where you need to pave the road. We have some significant strategic challenges in Grenada. We only have one quarry that's operational. That's the quarry at Mount Atman. That quarry is operated by one entity. We have significant challenges just in terms of getting the aggregates out, and by extension, getting asphalt in the quantities that we need. And that's one of the major reasons for the state of the roads. Now, this is a historic problem, and I think we could go and look at the reasons why it has happened. You see, historically, one company has gotten all the contracts to do road construction in Grenada. One of the things that has not happened in Grenada is that people have been given road contracts to build the roads, and they don't give them contracts to maintain the roads. And the government, the former government, essentially has decimated the Ministry of Infrastructure's ability to actually even do basic things like road maintenance and road repairs. Everything was outsourced in a very ad hoc and non-systematic manner. I mean, I'm saying basic things like we don't even have a pothole truck. That is why when you go on the roads, people are not cutting the roads and getting back to the foundation and then redoing the foundation and then asphalting. They just simply patch it. So I'm saying the reality is, to get to the point where we can change that, it needs equipment change, it needs personnel change, it needs training change, it needs engineering change. Those things don't happen overnight. And the patching of the roads isn't something that happened yesterday. It's been, frankly, let me say, all my life, that seems to be what we do. So what we're seeking to do is to try and create more fundamental changes. We have major roads that will need major contractors to repair and maintain the roads. We have secondary roads, and we believe we can build the local capacity of our people to be able to do so. In Grenada, there's only one, except CCC. There's this CCCI or CCC, whatever the acronym is, that does major road construction, and then you have Mr. Budlar's company that does secondary. After that, there's nobody else who's doing any kind of major asphalt work. So for us to be able to get to the point where we can properly repair and maintain the roads, we are going to have to bring expertise. We got to invite private contractors to come in. Rayneau is one of them. We are looking at others and seeking to get them to come in so that we can look at addressing the infrastructures.
As far as the asphalt plant is concerned, have we, because we're putting it, Beauseajour has become a kind of residential area. There are houses close by. Have we done the necessary, have the environmental impact assessment and so on been approved by planning? Is it, or are we still waiting on that?
No, well, I mean, the site itself is a site that already has asphalt. We already make school mix and so on. This is the government site for the Western Rayneau project. So this is not.
But Rayneau is going to be doing hot mix then?
It is likely that we will do hot mix.
So
I'm saying as it stands, no. So I would certainly say no. It has been done in terms of plan with it. But I'm saying the site as is the site where we already do asphalt mixing. It's a site where all of our bitumen is stored. It's a site where all our coal mixing and so on is done for all of the roadworks on the entire Western Coast. So
Do we process hot mix there? I don't
no,
think
I'm
so.
saying we don't process hot mix there. We don't currently process hot mix. I'm saying we coal mix there. But I'm also saying that's the site where all of the coal mix, all of the bitumen, significant aggregates and so on are held. So I mean,
So are you comfortable that the asphalt plant that will be operated there is environmentally sound, is not going to, because I know there have been some changes in technology of different types of asphalt
I
plants.
can't speak to the technical aspects of that, but I would certainly say, given where the site is located, there certainly as far as I know, there are no immediate houses in the immediate vicinity of it. But in a small island, there's always going to have to be give and take. Anywhere you put an asphalt parking area, it's probably within a mile or 2 miles of a residential community. The quarry that's operating at Mount Atman, the residents in Mount Atman and landscaping complain about the dust and the quality of dust and stuff like that. We have a quarry site that is not operational in St. Andrew. If that goes back on stream, you're going to have to deal with the issue of the residents. So it's a question of making sure.
Now, there is the construction of the Professor Callistra did an interview with the Callistra Farrier, did an interview with Prime Minister Deacon Mitchell. That was somehow leaked. It should not have been published, but I got wind of it during that process. And that has to do with the construction of that asphalt facility in Beauseajour and its possible impacts on road maintenance. Now, the Prime Minister in that interview, he indicated that that asphalt facility would be doing, I believe it's coal mix. Correct me if I'm not saying this correctly. Coal mix, yes? Is that the accurate terminology, Mr. Blash?
So there are two types of asphalt. So you could do a coal mix, which basically uses, I don't want to say coal bitumen, but it uses coal bitumen, and then you have hot mix asphalt, which is as the name suggests, it's hot, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Right. So what will that facility be doing? Because I understand there was a previous facility in Beauseajour as well, and so you've enhanced the capacity there. What will be the role of that facility? As the Prime Minister said in an interview, it looks like that facility will be used to help to aid in ongoing road maintenance, especially in terms of the potholes and things like that. So the first part of the question is, can you talk about what that facility will be doing? And then the second part of the question has to do with the concerns raised by the residents in the area, in Beauseajour, in Brizan, in Happy Hill and surrounding areas, that the effluent, and of course there is a housing scheme, a housing project as well, the effluent that will be coming from that facility, and people are concerned that that would have some environmental impact on them in terms of the fumes that they will be inhaling. Is that something that the Ministry of Infrastructure considered? So I want you to answer the second part of the question first, and then we'll deal with what it intends to do, the function of the facility.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. It is something that we we are concerned about. The reality of the situation is that plant that is set up in Beauseajour is what you call it is referred to as a mobile asphalt plant. So it is meant to be moved. It is really just a temporary measure to give us a bit of respite in the wake of the damages we've seen post the heavy rains in November. So it is not a long-term move by us. It is actually something that and that kind of segues us into the development in Woodford as well, because the intention there is to set up a more permanent, should I say, asphalt plant. That in itself is a private development by the Construction and Industrial Equipment Limited company.
Would that be, and this is where I want Mr. Hector to come in. So what you're saying is that the facility in Beauseajour is temporary until that facility in Woodford becomes the permanent place for that. Now, what about go ahead.
Oh yeah, sorry, right, yeah. So so the main role of that plant is to at least give us some additional capacity to do some paving. But the long-term plan is not for that plant to remain in Beauseajour. In terms of the exact time frame for it to be there, I can't give you an exact time frame.
Well, Mr. Blanche, Mr. Blanche, the resident, some might say, well, if it's a mobile facility, why put it there? Why is it there in the middle? It's close to a preschool. It's close to the playing field. It's close to many residences. The Chinese funded housing project is there. What about the one in Perseverance? Could it not have been placed there?
So the one in Perseverance is also a private facility as well, right?
Facility. Okay.
So basically, the government owns the land in Beauseajour. We currently produce coal mix asphalt there as well. You know, so if I'm not mistaken, there are probably some fumes that are emitted from that site already.
All right, let me bring in Mr. Hector. Mr. Hector, again, thank you so much, sir, for staying with us. Now, you've been hearing the conversation here with the chief technical officer, and of course, there are some things he may and may not be able to say. He's not the minister. The minister is, in fact, the prime minister. So I know that there are some things he would not be able to say. But Mr. Hector, as someone who lives in the Woodford community, I know that farmers in that area, residents in that area, yes, there are people who live that straddle Woodford and the Perseverance area. Can you talk about the concerns that you have with what is being constructed in Woodford? And of course, we cannot think of Woodford without thinking of it as a very rich agricultural area. As a young reporter, I would go up there with the late Mr. I believe his name was Mr. Dunstan Campbell. And they had, they did that area is very arable land, and there is also a feeder road area there as well. So talk to us, Mr. Hector, of some of the concerns that you have in respect of what's happening there.
Thank you, Dr. Bird.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think it is very careless of our administration to even consider the things that's being done in our community. Now, I'm quite baffled as to what the gentleman is saying here. Beauseajour is a developed area. You said it. There's school and everything. Move up to Woodford. How can one even think about erecting a plant for asphalt or any other type of plant in the area where this plant is being erected? There are houses located just about, say, 30 or 40 feet away from the plant. And it's not only one house, lots of houses. And over those houses there, we have a community called Brooklyn. And this community is a striving community. Over here, we have schools, churches, and other businesses. And putting a plant there would be a real inconvenience to the people in this community. Barring that, now I will question what is the thinking of this administration when it comes to people's welfare. Already we're suffering from the landfill in Perseverance. The people of this community has to deal with flies in the dry season, and even in the rain season, smoke and the noise. It is unfair to us for anyone to even think about putting more weight on these places. And as a matter of fact, the area where these people are being occupying, right? They're occupying the whole area. They're occupying Halifax Harbor, Perseverance Bay, and the landfill has already polluted those bays. So the people in this area here doesn't have any way to recreate themselves. We does not have playing fields. We does not have centers. And the only place we have is this beach, are these beaches. And when you think about putting a plant there where it's being located, it's going to hamper our agriculture system. Now, I, by looking, would say, see that bad things start happening already. The road, the feeder road that's leading up to the Mondo area, where most of the farmers in this community do their farming, the feeder road has fallen, all because of the construction that those people put in there. And nobody is addressing us. The gentleman there, who should have known so much, would have known that when you're going to do these kind of construction in a community, the community at least should be notified. Nobody came to our community and had any meeting with us. We haven't had a heads up. All we see is the plan going up and everybody guessing. Some people tell us it's a hotel, some people, Nicogram say it's a hotel, some say it's guest houses and all they like. And now the development has started. Mr. Bob, big things start small. And I think this matter has to be looked into seriously because the people is not going to take it lightly.
Yeah, now, as a follow-up to that question, now I understand that as residents in the area, in my background research for this segment, that you spoke with the Member of Parliament for the area. Could you articulate what, and of course the Member of Parliament for the area is the Minister for Climate Resilience, the Honorable Karine James. Could you articulate what conversation you had with the MP in respect of her knowledge of what is happening there? Or even the people who are doing the work, have they reached out to the community? Have they consulted with you in respect of what's happening, not only there, but in respect of what's happening at Halifax Bay as well, of what they're doing there?
Yeah, Mr. Bob, I am here as a private citizen. Because I live here, I grew up in this community. I think it's only fitting and proper that I speak for the people here. I spoke with the minister on Thursday, and I think it's a shame. I brought to the attention because she visited the area where the road broke, and I was one of the persons there. I asked her, I said, what is this going on? What is this construction? What are they doing there? Shamefully, the minister told me she doesn't know. She said, Mr. Hector, I don't know. I said, how could you don't know? How can you don't know when you're the minister? You're the one who's supposed to protect us. You're the one who's supposed to defend us. You came to us and you told us that you're going to help us better than the other persons who were there before. And now things happening, it could be bad. I don't think it's good. And you telling us, the members of the community, that you don't know, you're not even negotiating for us to have a conversation with the persons who building the who actually constructing the project. I feel bad. It's a shame. And community members feel bad too, because nobody having any discussion with us. I want to know how I mean, what's going on here? Where are we living?
Yeah.
I want Mr. Blanche to tell us, where are we living and what would be the situation with those people in this community going forward? If you're going to erect a permanent structure there, and there's going to be a plant, right? What's going to be happening to my children, my grandchildren, my great-grandchildren? What's going to be happening to our cultural product? What's going to be happening to our schools or our beaches? And so this is a community. This is not a remote area.
Now, Mr. Blash, I understand that I believe you mentioned the name of a facility there. I can't remember the name, but there's also, is that the same Rayneau project that's happening there?
Right. So,
in Woodford? Yeah.
So, Mr. Gajada is the person who owns
Wilson
the
Hector.
land.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead, sir. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah. So, Rayneau is the person who owns the property in Woodford where the construction is ongoing. The reality of the situation is, of course, further to Mr. Hector's point, there would have to be some kind of consultation with the persons in the area to see just the extent of how much they would be affected. I understand his concerns because if he says they have to grapple with the effects of the Perseverance landfill already. And if I'm not mistaken, there's already an asphalt plant in the area, right, Mr. Hector?
Yes.
Right. How would you describe your experience with that asphalt plant in the area?
Listen, living in this community here and having to deal with the area from, say, Cotton Bailey down to Beauseajour is like we're living in filth. Right? Now,
Okay.
because you asked me a question, I would like to ask you something.
Mhm.
Now, what should the people in these communities do after having invested in retirement homes, homes where, say, like I'm particular, I built my house here because it was pristine. The community was pristine. I could have wake up in the morning, go out on my veranda and inhale fresh air, right? But since all these things start coming into the community, it's not the same. And there are many other people that can say that. Listen, during the daytime, we have to keep our houses closed because of the flies. And now, if you people going to put a plant,
Hold on, now you people, don't say it like that.
yes, because you're in the government, you're the engine.
Yes, yes, Mr. Hector. Again, he's the enforcer of policy.
Yes,
He's not a policy maker. I want
I
us to be clear. He's not the minister of infrastructure. Let us be clear there. He's only here in that capacity. So but I do understand your frustration, and of course, hopefully, Mr. Blash, that is something you can take back to the policymakers, because you're hearing the concerns here in respect of their lack of knowledge or awareness of what's happening there. We have comments here saying that the people were not consulted on this. We have comments that even the member of parliament said she didn't know what was happening there. So perhaps that is something you can take back to your boss, the prime minister, who is also the minister of infrastructure.
Yeah.
But is there anything else you wanted to add there, Mr. Blash?
Yeah, no, I understand the angst of Mr. Hector, and I think he
yes,
he's a voice of residents in the area. I think now definitely we have to take a deeper look at what is happening in the area, especially in the backdrop of adding anything else there as well. And it's a fair point. Yeah, is a somewhat of a a sticky situation to be in, so to speak. In the sense that you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. So.
Right, and of course that facility, Mr. Blash, how will that be enhancing the capacity of the government of Grenada to address road maintenance issues? What are we going to be seeing there? What work will that plant be doing? I mean, the residents, they seem to be clueless. Maybe you have some ideas to what will be happening there?
Right. Well, to be fair, I'm not sure if the detailed plans are really fleshed out, so to speak. In terms of having consultations with persons in the area. I'm just kind of aware of some, the future thinking. The reality of the situation is currently on the island there is only one supplier of hot mix asphalt.
Yes.
That is from the plant that is currently in the area. Part of the logic, I mean, as you know how, and that's from a more economics perspective, a monopoly is, yeah, and a monopoly is an interesting position to be in, when you deal with these things, so ideally, competition should suppose some innovation, improve the prices and the costs to taxpayers. The additional volume of hot mix that can be produced can help to ramp up the speed and the quantity of roads that we are able to repair in a particular time frame. So and I understand completely how Mr. Hector feels. Is it's better for everybody else, but at what cost to the persons in the in the area, and I think that is something that this conversation this morning is somewhat critical to to addressing and assuaging some of the doubts of the the people in the area.
Now, in the context, and I'll get back to you, Mr. Hector, in the context of, and of course, we, the caveat here is that, as you indicated, that's not government land, that's private land. And that's a challenge we have in Grenada, because there's no land use policy, right? And that has been the perennial debate. And because there is no land use policy, someone builds a warehouse that should have been earmarked for environmental protection. You build a hotel that should have been in an area that's also earmarked for environmental protection or even agricultural use. So what role, I'm not too sure what role the Ministry of Infrastructure plays in the context of decision making on the physical planning unit board. Does the Ministry of Infrastructure have any say in what the Ministry of Infrastructure does in deciding to give approvals to construction projects like what we're seeing in Woodford?
Yeah. So the Planning and Development Authority is now a statutory body. The
Yes.
ministry is represented, the Ministry of Health and so on. So any development project has to go through a particular series of submitting master plans and completing ESIAs and so on. So all of that is things that I guess in the coming months will be fleshed out and made public to the residents, so at least they can make comments and address some of these things.
Mr. Hector, I'm going to give you an opportunity now to respond to what Mr. Blash just articulated here.
Dr. Bob.
Yes, sir.
In Grenada, right? If you has to burn and put light garbage, you have to light a fire in your backyard. You have to get permission from the authority. Mr. Blanche, excuse me, sir, you're not making sense. The building, the project that you're projecting in Woodford is not on the ground. It's already constructed. So who did the environmental study? Why wasn't that done prior to the building being constructed? Why wasn't say the authority and the construction people, why hadn't they meet with the community to find out what would be the impact on that community relative to an asphalt plant coming there? Mr. Bob, this is an asphalt plant. This is not say orange juice, canning orange juice, or a hotel where people eating food. Now this thing here is going to have a major effect on our community, and it's going to have an effect on children yet unborn. So we don't want it here. It's there, and if we allow it to continue, it's going to develop into something that we wouldn't be able to get rid of. And are they saying that the people in this community has to give up their homes and everything and walk away? Look at the damage that's being done there already. The road fall. People like me who own lands in the Mondo area, for months we won't be able to go up. Maybe for years, who knows? Would they ever be able to reconstruct that road for us? We haven't even heard nothing from the people who erecting the plant there. And where the road has fallen is just maybe about 20 feet from where the plant is. And the road fall because because of the construction. Nobody can tell me different. You understand? So I want, and I would like somebody from the authority, because if my minister, the minister for the constituents of St. John's, does not know what's happening, somebody with more authority should call a meeting and tell us what they intend to do, because the people is not going to take it easy. And the owner of this plant at least should do something to give assistance to the farmers up in Mondo because of the road that has fallen. You understand? And this construction should have never started from day one, from Jumpstart. Mr. Blanche should be.
Absolutely. Yes, and of course, I'm sure that those concerns Mr. Blash will be taking back to his boss, the policymakers. Hey, again, I cannot overemphasize how much, but this is a story that needs that needs ventilation in the way that we are ventilating it on the Bub Report. But I do want to get to some viewer comments around the overall concerns of infrastructure in Grenada, Mr. Blash, and of course. Margaret is saying, but the consultation can't take place after the fact. That's something. So Wilbur Thomas is asking, so is Rayneau going to construct the plant and then sell it back to us? Is that the plan, Mr. Blash? Is that what's happening? Is it going to sell it back to the government of Grenada, or are you not aware of those plans? I said, I don't know. Let me put
sorry,
the
what was
comment
that?
again.
Oh,
Are they going to construct the plant and then sell it back to the state?
sell
Is
what,
that
the
the
plant?
intention? Yes.
Sell the plant or no, we
The
would just it would operate in a similar scenario to how you purchase concrete. You know, you have private persons who supply concrete. But in terms of
concrete
the work that has
supplies.
already, yeah, but in terms of the work that has already taken place there, I am not aware of, you know, so is the plant already functional? Is that what you're saying, Mr. Hector?
I don't think he's saying that the plant is functional. I think he's saying the structure is built. No work, I don't think any work has commenced there. But he's also speaking about that particular feeder road in that area. Is that something that has been brought to the ministry's attention as well?
Right. That is the feeder road in Mondo, right?
Montfilla.
Sorry?
Montfilla.
Okay. What is the official name of it?
Montfilla.
Mount Villa.
Mount Villa. Yeah. And that road is connected to where the construction is, or where they've cleared the land in
Yes.
Woodford.
Yes.
Okay. I'm not from the West Coast, so I'm not very familiar with the area.
Yes.
Right. And
okay.
You're saying that the construction in the area has damaged that road. So is it that they connected to the?
That's my opinion.
Okay, but question. So the road to where the guys have cleared the land is the public road.
That's the public feeder road that leads you to Munda, to the farming community. And in Munda, there's about 25 active farmers. People with cocoa, nutmeg, banana, sauce, name it. Short crop and all they like, right? And husbandry, right? And we drive to go there. We use that road. This is a main thoroughfare, right? So with that road, with that road being broken, the farmers there has to park the car and walk about 2 or 3 miles up the hill to get into their lands. It's unfair to us.
Okay, and what was the condition of that road previously?
What was the condition of the road before, Mr. Hector?
It was super. We was using it.
Okay.
And there are houses there. There are houses, there are a row of houses, maybe about 30 or 40 feet as the crow fly from where the plant is erected. I don't know if it's in use. I have not seen anything and so on. But in the first place, it shouldn't have been there. Now, if we have proper what should I say, people doing their due diligence. We have proper due diligence and people looking at the things the way it's supposed to be done, this would have never happened. Irrespective to the fact that the land may be private, but you can't hide smoke. You can't hide
that is right. And the people of Mount Hartman know this in respect of the quarry that's down there as well, right? Yeah.
There's already a plant in Perseverance. Some arrangement could have been made because the people here, we never demonstrated against the landfill and the plant in Perseverance, never. But Perseverance is about quarter mile from where the plant is now being located in Woodford. So you have one in Perseverance that the people accepted. And because we accept the one in Perseverance, you will take another one and come and put under our windows. That's not fair. It's not. And I would like the authority, tell us who, the prime minister, the minister of whatever, let them come and we can sit down and have a conversation. We should have a conversation as Grenadians. We're not beasts. So anybody could just come in our community and just do anything, and we swallow it, and they do whatever they has to do, and they go about their business. No, that's not how society is supposed to operate. We're supposed to operate more humanly, right? And no excuse. We shouldn't be making any excuse about this one. It's not about funding, it's not about development, it's not about road, it's not about anything. It's about people. This is about people and the people's welfare.
A comment here from Margaret is saying private ownership of land doesn't mean you have carte blanche to do whatever you want on that land. Don't get it twisted. At the end of the day, all land belongs to the state. Well, Margaret, some might say to you, yeah, all land belongs to the state, but when I'm ready to build what I'm going to build, I would bring my cutlass out, let the state come and see what I will do to the state. The state will see what God they're serving. Again, I'm just saying that in jest. And we have a viewer this morning. Of course, he is the Member of Parliament for St. George Northeast, the Honorable Ron Redhead. Mr. Redhead, it's good to see you on the program, sir. It would be good to have you on the Bub Report this year. We have been inviting you to appear on the program in the past, but you've not graced us with your presence since. But it's good that you're commenting. Mr. Ron Redhead, and this is directed to you, Mr. Wilton Ector, is saying, Brother Wilton, what is your recommendation for an alternative site, especially taking into consideration that this is a long-term problem? What say you, sir?
Put it
in response to the Member of Parliament.
Put it in Lansapin. Put the plant in Lansapin or in Calivini. I think this is going to be better. The whole of Grenada is supposed to bear the brunt of our disasters, not only the people in St. John's or the Northwest St. George's area. Mr. Redard was there. He came that evening last Thursday when we was visiting. He came for a photo op. He didn't say anything. They just laughed and posed and left. The question here is, when are we going to get our road? And when is this plant going to be removed from that area where it's being placed? If you want to find out, where they should put it in Lansapin.
Hi everyone, thanks for checking out the Bub Report's. Hi everyone, thanks for checking out the Bub Report's social media pages. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch our weekly live show, follow our Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram pages, and also subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can catch repeat episodes on Wednesdays at 4 and 5 p.m. respectively on CRFM Radio and GBN TV in Grenada. We are also viewed on Sundays at 8 p.m. on WPG 10 throughout the Caribbean. Thanks for watching.